there we are. It's Sunday night and it's 8 o'clock and it's time for a motherfucking broadcast. My name is Billy Kirkwood. I guess, why not? If you have never tuned into broadcast before, don't worry about it. Let me clue you in exactly what's going to happen. It is a lifestyle podcast. We get to meet interesting individuals from all around the world. And we get to have a chat with them, a little about their lives, a little about their career. And it's put on by these sexy motherfuckers at Braw Beard Oil. Of course, you want to check out everything they've got going on at brawbeard.com, brawbeardoil.com. Make sure to check out all their social media. Get yourself all your stuff for your sexy beard, or as I forgot the word because I was so tired, jaw pubes. Not something I am likely to repeat. I can assure you, certainly I don't imagine the bosses will be happy about that. And that's the whole thing about it. We just have ourselves a bit of fun on a Sunday night. We have had MMA superstars on. We've had WWE wrestlers. We have had actors, comedians. We have had, God, well, who else we have? We had BDSM models. We've had beard models. And that's it. It's a kind of celebration with the alternative lifestyle, getting to meet some amazing, wonderful individuals, learning a little bit about them, like I say, having a laugh on a Sunday night. Right, there is one thing you can do. The podcast is, of course, totally free. You can check out all the archive over on Spotify, and you can check it out over our Braw Beard YouTube channel. We've got well over 1,000 subscribers now. We are building an army. Yes! And we want you to be part of it. Want to be at least a colonel? Don't worry, we'll sort you out a colour sergeant role or something. It'll be more of a commemorative role that you'll have. Just money every year. Don't worry about it. Head over, subscribe, tell a friend that is into this type of thing. And of course, why not get them some cool gear as well over at Braw Beard? Right, shall we get this started? All right, our guest tonight, full disclosure, is a really good friend of mine. I'm delighted for you to meet him on tonight's show. Not only is he an actor, not only is he a comedian, he is, maybe it would just be better to introduce you to tonight's guest, MC Hammersmith. Let's take a look.
Hello, my name's Will. I'm from middle-class West London, Hammersmith specifically. I've been self-isolating away from coronavirus for 3 weeks now, which has given me a lot of time to ponder some questions, like, could I ever write a rap? From the top down, when I look across town, living in a compound, city is on lockdown, trying to contain all the sickness inside, but I gotta be letting it out, that's why I'm spitting these rhymes. Had a lot of thoughts in self-isolation, like could I ever be the next rhyme sensation? What an ambition, I'm posh and from Britain, but to ponder my vision, here's some tosh that I've written. I'm intergalactic, I'm Mr. Fantastic, my lyrics are magic and quick and erratic, my spit is elastic, my liver is plastic, and so fucking hard, the metics are metallic, I'm whipping a frantic, and sinister tactic, I'm ripping the fabric and freaking semantics, and this is a classic, and shit's dramatic, I'll bury you dead, I'll flip in Jurassic. I'm polite, but I still spit a vulgar rap. I'm street, but the street is a cul-de-sac. Posh and gangster, that is my fashion. I've never smoked crack, but I have smoked salmon. For flipping the lyrical rhythm, I've got the rawest appetite. I'm so out of this world, I rub my balls on satellites. My words are even sharper than a fat katana saber, and I'll serve you even faster than a Wagamama's waiter. A man on a mission, why rap with precision? My dick is so big it needs planning permission. A rapid endeavour, you're about to crack from the pressure. The way I'm shredding shit, it's like a shat and a shredder. I'm the sickest lyricist to ever spit and kick a freestyle. I've got all these whack rappers up on my speed dial. I call them up and I put them to the test. Ring ring, hello, fuck you, I'm the best. They've got.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is tonight's guest. Please welcome MC Hammersmith, aka Mr. Will fucking Naameh, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you so much.
Hello. I'm not sure, obviously, if you're listening to this, you won't be able to see this, but it's nice how you've placed me in terms of this StreamYard background with my head in the middle of a picture of myself, like I'm coming up my own body like a Teletubby. It's great.
I just saw that. It reminded me of, was it Krang from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Hero Turtles?
Oh,
You're carrying yourself around in the belly. That was completely by accident. You know, I might actually change that, because having you leaning over yourself like that is... tell you what, let's go with that, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, our guest tonight, Will Naameh, MC Hammersmith. How the bloody hell are you, Will?
I'm good, mate, and thank you for your lovely introduction, by the way. It's a marked shift in tone for your normal introductions for me when we do the Monday Night Improv live streams, where you've called me such things as a haunted stick of celery, Harry Potter for was badly rendered on the PlayStation 2, like an accountant who just got a £30 gift card from Next. All your standard points.
You should laugh at your own shit. That's terrible. That's absolutely awful. But no, I wouldn't dream of doing that. I'm a complete professional here.
Yes, it goes.
On Braw Beard. which means I'm not a professional on Monday Night Improv. We'll come back to that a wee bit later on. This is kind of weird for us because here I am going, how the devil are you? Literally, we have been messaging back and forth about a gig we're actually going to be doing straight after this tonight. So I know exactly how you are. I don't know you're in.
I think we've been speaking. Yeah, I think we've been speaking basically every day for a year since like most of our lockdown improv things have been with each other. Right?
Pretty much, actually. Well, I might as well admit, full disclosure, we're in the same room. There's no two ways of fucking about it. If yes or no, Willie's just over on the other side of the room just now. It's one of these things whenever I get comedians on, and it's so hard in terms of talking with people about what they do, but you have such a unique skill set. I mean, the first time I saw you, you were an improviser. And you were improvising. I think I'm going to come out and say I'm pretty sure. I think it was with TBC through in Edinburgh. Would that be right? Have I got
Was it that? Yeah. Wow, that's a group that I've not done. I mean, they're great people. I've not done a gig with them in ages, but I had no idea you'd seen that show. Basically, whose line is it anyway? Short form, family friendly games. Basically, I've not done that in ages. Yeah.
I think I caught it. Would have been, was it just a random show in Edinburgh? I say a random show, or was it at the Fringe? I'm trying to, this little cul-de-sac of my memory is not necessarily where we want to stay. So we're checking the mirrors, we're in a 3-point turn, and we are the fuck out here. Yeah. Well, how would you describe your skill set, or in a nutshell, because as comics, we've got to sell ourselves all the time. What would be the best way for you to sell yourself?
I don't know. Every time I'm filling out a form, like for HMRC or something, and it asks me for my job title, I never know what to put. So, like, I just put performer, or improviser. Nice. And if I call myself a comedian, I feel like that promises certain things I can't always deliver on. So,
oh, really? God, I better change those forms going forward. I don't like it. I don't know if I think about putting performer down, because like it makes it sound like I could perform anything. Brain surgery, porn. Those are two things that I'm pretty confident I can do either of. But that's only because I'm slightly terrified of vaginas. Well, in terms of what an improviser does, let's start off there, because it is kind of. Then I consider you a comedian, if that makes any difference. I consider you a comedian. You're hilarious, hysterical, one of the quickest wits I think I've ever seen. The dick on this man, honestly, it's like imagine a fleshy tin of Pringles, if that helps. It's ridiculous.
That was originally my rap name before I settled on MC Hammersmith.
Fleshy tin of Pringles. Once you pop, you cannot stop. That's really what it is. A flurry of Julek's pain. What I want it now. I've gone back into the groove. We're back into the groove already. How would you describe your what an improviser is? Because so many people, when we do improv shows together, they don't get the concept of it. Yeah, but I think what you do is maybe a little more closer to that as an art form. I mean, I'm a comedian that improvises, but you're an improvising comedian in a lot of ways. How would you clarify what an improviser is for us?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, you've come to this from the stand-up side of things initially, and now do improv, and you freewheel on stage, solo and in teams. Whereas I came into this, I've been doing improvised comedy since I was a teenager, and started doing shows pretty much as soon as I came to uni, and then straight out of uni, attempted to make a career out of it. I use the word career with a small c. But yeah, improvised comedy, the stuff that I do is mostly long form, and if nobody's aware of that, I won't be surprised. It's basically improvising a bunch of scenes on stage that fit together somehow. So it could be thematically. The most common examples would be scenes that fit together narratively, like doing improvised plays or improvised musicals. And obviously, you have done these shows with us, so you'll know. But the two biggest shows that I do are called Spontaneous Sherlock and Spontaneous Potter, where we do an improvised Sherlock Holmes story based entirely on an audience suggestion with a live Victorian band. And Potter is ditto, but Harry Potter, obviously. Now, obviously, I do solo stuff as well that is freewheeled and rhymes when I'm rapping. But I've come to this whole comedy game purely from an improv perspective.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's odd the difference between improvisers and stand-ups. Because when you say you're a comedian, people think, oh, you do stand-up comedy. And I always have to qualify it with, yes, like that, but worse. But not as popular or as good.
With maybe not the same hit rate. Because that's the whole amazing thing about improv. I mean, I improv even as a comedian on stage. You start earning those miles, and you do kind of have you have permission to fail. You are taking that jump into the abyss, and
Yeah.
and if it helps anyone watching, I would say a bridge, if this helps you, between the difference between long form and short form in terms of what you might have seen on maybe TV or what have you. Let's say Whose Line Is It Anyway? Let's call that short form. It's quick, it's snappy, it's games. But if you've ever seen any of Christopher Guest's stuff, for example, This Is Spinal Tap, although I know he didn't direct that, he was in that. Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, where it is prolonged scenes that are I mean, they are some of the most hysterical things you will ever see on cinema in your life.
Yeah.
But that is almost an example of long form. Would that be?
Totally. Yeah. Just scenes that are improvised that connect somehow. And obviously, like with short form and Whose Line stuff, there is less of a fourth wall and it's more self-aware. And long form tends to take its time more, hence the name. And you can play around with that bridge between comedy and acting a lot more, and have a mixtape of this is a funny scene, and now this is a scene that's driven by the character's emotion. And I think the best shows are a mixtape of all those sorts of scenes. But I tell you what, like, I'm not sure if we've ever spoken about this really, but the difference in attitude between stand-ups and improvisers is very stark. Not throwing shades in either direction. Both could learn a lot of things from each other. But I will say this: if you do an improv set and there is another improv team on after you, what they'll tend to say, if you did well, they'll say to you all, "Oh my God, you did so well. Yay. I can't wait to share your energy. Thank you for helping the show feel good for the audience." Like, they'll be very happy you did well, because improv is so yes and so supportive and so much so based on other people's ideas and making your scene partner look good. Whereas you'll know as a stand-up, if you do well, people will say, "Well done," through gritted teeth. What they mean is, "Fuck you."
Fuck you, exactly. I still remember being backstage watching a gig at the Standing in Newcastle of all places.
Yeah.
And there's a comedian on stage that mentioned Greg's, and one of the headliners went, "I can't believe she's done Greg's stuff. That's my Greg's bit fucked." And then I saw his Greg's bit later on. It was just like, no, it just wasn't very good. It just like it's just that. But it's a paranoia of the solo performer. Maybe I don't know. I guess that's one of the things, because I come from a bit of a theatre background, a bit of a lovely myself back in the day. And I love the idea about sharing the stage and being able to give yourself up to people. Maybe it's why I like pro wrestling as well. I'm not exactly sure, but it is that jump into the fantasy and being able to give yourself up. You, like I say, you found your way to comedy or through comedy, bringing this wonderful energy and this expertise with you. Were you a fan of comedy? Was it a natural sort of shall we say, magnetizing you towards it? Was it a natural thing, or
Yeah, I mean, I'm an only child. I was quite a lonely child as well, but I loved watching old BBC sitcoms when I was like 8, full of references that were far too old for me that I never understood. Blackadder, Only Fools and Horses, all this. And it became a core part of coping with growing up in an all boys like private school environment, was to be funny, because I'm quite a skinny, nerdy, weedy motherfucker. So being able to never. Diesel
is right. Trimmed down all the
Curtain light, Lite. I'm diet human.
That's my favorite ever explanation. Fuck, you beat me. You've beat me. God damn it. That's my favorite.
I always got by on being like the funny guy when I was a kid and a teenager, and improv was just such a fun thing to be able to do it with other people, to make other people laugh and make each other look good. And there is obviously in improv there is a wonderful cult-like pyramid scheme culture around it anyway, as there is with any sort of obsessive thing that doesn't pay very well.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I love that. There's no disrespect to comedians, no disrespect to improvisers. I'm not bigging myself up. There's not a lot of comedians that get to do the jump over and the jump back.
Completely.
Not a lot of us that get to do that. So I count myself as being lucky to kind of hold my own or what have you.
Absolutely.
But because I come from a theatre background and work with weirdos and pro wrestling and what have you as well, I was kind of ready for it. But then you meet some of the guys from the States and it's like, wow. I wasn't quite ready for that level of intensity those guys have, and like you said, it's very positive, and it comes from a great place. So in terms of you coming to comedy, I mean, obviously, like you say, you started doing it at school, at university as well. When was the time where you went, right, okay, let's get this a little further out in the world? Because there's quite committed audiences to improv at those levels, particularly at university and what have you. When is it like, let's get this a little more out here? When do you make that jump?
I think it was odd for me because I started doing improv with a bunch of dudes in their like early 40s when I was 19. Because I found an ad on. I know it sounds it sounds much more salacious than it is.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'll blink once for yes, twice for no.
Okay. Just you say everything will be fine. I'll get them. The way we're dealing with these people now, retrospectively. So don't worry. We don't need a Louis Theroux documentary.
Which again, given people say I look like an emaciated Louis Theroux, does feel pointed.
Oh yeah, so it is. Oh, God rest his soul. Not dead apparently. Never mind that. I would like to give my apologies to the Theroux family. But so you're working with these guys at like 40s and what have you, loads of experience there, I should imagine.
I was like 19 or 20 because I was still a student. I joined I found a Creative Scotland ad for an improv audition and then went along because I loved improv and been doing it as a student or whatever. And all those people eventually became a team of mine called Men with Coconuts, a team that I'm still in. And most of those people are still like my best pals to this day, despite the 15, 20, 25-year age gap in some of them.
I'd like to apologize to the gentlemen of Men in Coconuts. I think you're amazing. Just we joke about them.
It's okay, they can take it. And
when you say they can take it, Will, what were you talking about here?
Oh yeah, this was a poor choice of phrasing. I'll be the first to.
Oh, it's called right. Okay, I'm just worried about you. It's the maternal aspect of me.
Exactly.
So you're working with the guys in Men in Coconuts who with their name I was aware of. Even before we got to I nearly used the phrase hook up, but probably become friends. Maybe that'd be the best way of putting that.
Sure, platonic friends.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I phrased that in a way that made that sound weird, and I appreciate that. So you're working with the guys from Men in Coconuts. Great name. I like the name. It sounds so silly, but I've heard so many weird named improv trips over the years. That it's nice to actually hear the occasional one and you go, I know what that's about. I'm going to go and see that Men in Coconuts improv. I'm in. It's either a band, it's either a tiki band, or it's either way I'm in.
Yes, so improv troupe with the aesthetic of a tiki band. Exactly.
Amazing. About time.
Yeah, and we basically had been doing the Fringe year after year. Had been taking that on tour a wee bit and trying both short form and long form. And for a while, us and TBC, the aforementioned group you said, were some of the few people doing improv in Scotland, apart from yourself, really, with Stu and Gary and the stuff in Glasgow at the Stand, the Improv Wars show. And improv in Scotland was tiny for years and years and years.
Very much so.
It's only in the past couple of years it's properly exploded, and there's loads of talent coming onto the scene, and which is good for the scene. If stand-ups start becoming popular, other stand-ups start shitting themselves and start getting jealous. When improv starts spreading in a community, it is like a rising tide elevating all ships. All we think is great, more talented people to play with and do shows of this, because there's no necessary long-term career in it, probably for like 95% of us. There's no guaranteed income you can solely subsist off. So it has to be collaborative and less and less what's a word I can say diplomatically? And less dickish, less bitchy.
All right, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
There's no ladder at the end of it. And stand up, there's people think, well, there's a ladder at the top. There's Live at the Apollo. There's the panel shows. There's TikTok fame, whatever the equivalent would be in 2021. Whereas with improv, it has to be live, and there is a ceiling you can reach in it. So it has to be more collaborative and community based, which is wholesome, I think, and it's great.
As much with the strides that we've certainly made with online stuff, which has been great, by the way, and where we all are. One of the things I just find still enchanting, as I do with stand up, to be honest, I'm still very much in love with comedy, which is something I've come to terms with more and more. I think during lockdown, it's like, my God, I still absolutely love it. It hasn't gone away. I thought it would. If anything, it's worse. But the one thing about improv, it's so intoxicating, I think, is not only for the audience as the performer, is the live experience, as we are taking this jump together. It's probably even more of a combining experience than stand-up. I mean, I think I still believe the best way to see stand-up comedy is live. That's not taking anything away from any of the specials on Netflix and the panel shows, like you say, loads of other ways. But I still think the best way to view it is live.
Yeah.
Was that something when you started reaching out and touring with likes of Men in Coconut, was that something you've Men in Coconuts? That's a completely different show. Don't go see those guys. Those guys are dicks. But Men with Coconuts are outstanding. And was it something for you? Did you find that intoxicating? Because I imagine when you were doing improv earlier on at university and school, was it the long form stuff? Was it the more narrative theatre based long form improv, or when did you start branching into comedy? Was it quite early on?
Yeah, I mean, I started branching into like the comedy circuit, as in the stand up circuit, when I started trying to do improvised raps. Hence my rap name, MC Hammersmith, rapping West London. And basically, I wanted to do a show that was a bunch of people doing improvised raps, and nobody wanted to do it with me. So I just thought, well, fuck you all, I'll do it myself. And as far as I'm aware, I'm one of the only freestylers in Scotland from either an improv perspective or a hip hop perspective. I'm very cut off from the hip hop scene because I'm not a hip hop artist. I don't know if you can tell. Nothing I do is particularly sincere. So I might be, incredibly wrong on that front. But
I will address some members of the hip hop scene right now in Scotland. A lot of you are dreadful. But there's some really good ones out there. Some really good ones out there. That's all I've got to say. I only know that from the wee man's battle raps.
Yes.
When you got your arse handed to you by total virgin comedians. What the fuck? I mean, and by that I don't mean comedians that are virgin. I mean just comedians that are essentially just losers. But that's just my point. Well, in terms of improv, you get involved with the Scottish scene. It was something unique coming to it. Like you say, I mean, we naturally all kind of found each other, myself, you, Stu and Gary. That is quite a small scene, and it's quite nice how that sort of all naturally happened. At one point, I guess you could say there was the Stand, and there was Stu and Gary who came from like Bedlam and what have you as well, which is quite a historic improv thing. You guys all coming from your different places like TBC and obviously Spontaneous Potter and what have you. Yeah. And I had seen you with TBC, and I assume I don't remember the moment, but we either met, we had the gig together. I honestly cannot recall, and that's terrible. But I honestly can't recall. But I reached out to you and go, we would love for you to come and play with us.
Oh yes, I remember that.
In Monday Night Improv in Glasgow, where I think at the time you'd only done Red Rods or something. I don't think you'd done a lot of shows there.
I don't think I'd even done 10 gigs as myself, which was fun. It's nice how I think there are very few improvisers who are also on the stand-up circuit. I think you and I are one of very few, in the UK.
I can think of some of the guys from Dublin, maybe Kevin Gilday and I can never remember that fella's name. That's terrible. That is actually awful. Wait, say it again.
See how hard it is to actually think of folk that are
there's not many
between the two regularly. Obviously, it's a much more done thing in America, where people who do stand up and do improv, and America's a place, and Canada, where improv is so much more ubiquitous. You find it in Australia as well. You will find more cross pollination there, but they're very separate in the UK, very separate. And I'm often treated with a lot of suspicion from both sides when I say this is a thing I do. Stand-up's like, you do improv. That's really fucking lame. I saw improv once, didn't like it. And improvisers would go, you're on the stand-up circuit? Isn't that really toxic and difficult and awful? And do you just do gags and you don't do serious theatrical scenes? There's a lot of mistrust from both sides over something that doesn't matter.
Then you got people that it's like solid gags, mistrust, nothing thematic. That's pretty much what I do anyway. So that's pretty much it. That's the name of the French show. Thematic. Yeah. That's the title. It's the working title of it. Talking. So what brings us quite neatly to we've got to talk about MC Hammersmith. Well,
yes.
A slight backtrack before we get there. One of the things I do think is very cool about you as an improviser, and you don't see it a lot in stand-up, and I wish it was something what we did more of, is not only is the collaborative side, which I think is mindless, because all stand-ups want to do is talk about stand-up, and I don't get why we don't actually spend more time together talking about what we do. sharing gags, collaborating. I don't get it. Everyone goes every year to the Edinburgh to Late Live because they want to see stand-ups fucking about. But yeah, we don't do that anywhere else. It's just It's just weird. Don't get me wrong, we've got cliques. Technically, we're in a clique. I just thought about that. I'm cool. I never thought we were this cool. But one of the things that really impressed me about you is that you travel in the time that we've known each other. I know that you've traveled and you've worked with other improvisers in other parts of the planet. And is that because you think it's nice to get the gears turning, it's nice to get another observation? Because I'm sure that's something from anyone with any walk of life, more knowledge, more people you learn from. You're still learning, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I love traveling and doing improv because I love losing money abroad. It's my favorite activity. But I think it was Carrie-Ad Lloyd. She's actually someone who has crossed from the comedy circuit to the improv circuit backwards and forwards, one of the very few people. And she's a phenomenally talented improviser.
Do you know what? I think I met her. Didn't I meet her at the Edinburgh Improv thing? Did I meet her?
I have no idea, because despite being on the board of the Edinburgh International Improv Festival, I have never been to it because I've been in Australia both years doing gigs, much to the anger of the rest of the people who organise it.
Oh, sadly, whenever I drink, I go deaf. It's a panic thing I've got. It just completely shuts things off. Swearing is a nightmare. But you've been in Australia, travelling.
Yes, and it was Carrie-Ad that I think... possibly said to myself or a group of people to work once years ago. She was saying, you never stop learning. You never stop going to classes. At the point where you think you don't need classes anymore, you probably have, and this is for improv, not necessarily stand-up, because improv is a collaborative thing and a thing that is a constant process. Stand-up is a polished, finished product. With improv, like if you think you are too good to learn, then you are the problem, and that will get in the way of your own mental gymnastics at being present in a scene. Because you have to leave your ego at the door with improv. You have to go, whatever the other person's idea is, I have to yes and that and support that within a tiny framework of reason. Obviously, if they're being a mad racist, maybe don't yes and that. But in general, like their idea, you have to support and yes and build on it together. And if you think you're too good to learn and too good to workshop and too good to open your mind to another idea, that will translate to the stage as well, and you'll become a real bastard to play with. Like it will be unenjoyable for folk.
It's a couple of things for that. Just before we get on to MC Hammersmith, and I guess Spontaneous Potter as well. One of the things I've actually found, and I completely agree with everything you've just said. One of the things is in the last year of lockdown, actually having the conversation and realizing there is more to learn, there is more to work on, has been amazing for me as a comedian, and I think it's amazing for everyone. Hopefully it is a time to actually stop and a little bit of self-examination to realize, fuck, I am part of the problem. Why maybe I'm not getting this or this isn't working, because maybe you should just write something new. Maybe you should get back into that mind frame. Maybe you should, and it's actually quite freeing. And the reason why I was bringing that up is also the yes and attitude. And it's kind of, if you ever get an opportunity to look up The Second City, I don't know what would be a good way of doing it if anyone's watching. Probably Canada would be the best one to start with. There's a book, I've got a book kicking around here somewhere. And you mentioned yes and I know it's an attitude as well about, almost giving faith and taking the jump. It's practically it's an attitude. It's a TED talk. It's like people got the laugh, live, love thing in their their Auntie Sandra's house. But yes, and it's you working with someone and taking the leap. And when you see two improvisers doing that together, it's an amazing thing. But if people do that in the workplaces and what have you, bloody hell, it's incredible.
It's such a life skill, and there is a huge booming industry in applied improv, which is bigger in North America than it is here, for instance. But it is like maybe the hippie sort of wanky way to look at it would be improv your life. But I think good message underneath all that, all those horrible quotable mantras, is improv is just agreeing to agree with each other. And if you are able to pierce through all the different approaches to improvisation, improvised comedy, that's all it is fundamentally, is there are two people on stage and they both agree to agree. And that's the same universally. Because when we agree with things, it's easy. When we negate, it's harder. If you compare these two scenes, you'll see the difference. If the first two lines of a scene were, "Hello, sir. Welcome to my ice cream shop. How can I help you?" And the second player responds, "I'd like a scoop of vanilla, please," versus the second version of that scene, Hello, sir. Welcome to my ice cream shop. How can I help you? This isn't an ice cream shop. I'm a pirate on a pirate ship, and we're going to space. Fuck you. Like, the second version of that is way harder to do as a performer. Right?
It's such a... I've seen stand-ups get into that. They don't get, because they just can't collaborate. It's a block. It's just an outright block. Anyone who's understands theatre. But that seems dead in some respects. Like, I have seen it's like, oh, I'm here to fix your TV. No, you're not. Now, it might get a cheap laugh in the moment, and it might get a cheap laugh in a comedy club environment, but it's dead. Like, you're making it so much difficult for everyone around you. And it's an ego thing.
And this ties in beautifully to everything we're talking about. It's both a life skill. If I agree to like just stay present and listen to the other person's idea, small talk becomes so much easier. Collaborating in the workplace to like actually give support to an idea, regardless of their position in the company, for instance, becomes like a great leveler and an equalizer and a team building thing. And moreover, we were talking about solo comedy. When I'm doing MC Hammersmith, I just feel that because I'm doing improv by myself, which could on paper be quite a lonely thing, I just think I'm going to yes and what the audience suggests. So for instance, you and I were doing a Zoom gig last night, and I interviewed a guy, I think his name was Kev, maybe, and I went, and I interviewed somebody for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, then I'll do a rap about them. And I went, what do you do for a living? And he went, I do X, Y, and Z, but I used to be a spanner. And I went, I'm sorry, you used to be a spanner? And he went, yeah, a mechanic for Formula One and another racing stuff. I went, and I thought, well, comedians and people that haven't done improv, or maybe people that are newer to it, would probably discount that and go, I have to get this right. But the more fun idea to yes and is, you used to be a spanner. So then I was able to do a rap about, his past life as a spanner, his friend who was a screwdriver, his pal who was a hammer, like all this stuff. Because if I yes and that idea, no matter how ridiculous or wrong in inverted commas it might be, then I can have way more fun with that stuff. And comics who've been going for a long time obviously get that and understand that, and they know how to compare a room and see those things, those shiny things, as gifts, because they are present and calm. But people who are newer to it, newer performers, regardless of whether they're stand-ups, improvisers, whatever, they may not see it that way. They're preoccupied with getting it right, and that's where we block off the fun and block off the ability to yes and a fun, stupid idea that could actually be way more fun than, whatever the correct version was supposed to be. Yeah.
Now, that's where we have to come to MC Hammersmith.
Indeed, yes.
Now, first of all, if you haven't had the opportunity, wherever you're watching, make sure to go and check Will out on social media, MC_Hammersmith. He's on Instagram. He's on TikTok, apparently. You're on TikTok,
with the kids. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm down with the kids.
You're on TikTok, on Twitter, and what have you as well. Obviously on YouTube, and I know you're building the YouTube account just now as well.
Sure.
God, you've had videos that have gone crazy viral. There is, I have to admit, there is an element of pride when someone goes, "Oh my God, have you seen that guy?" And I do get to go, "Oh, it's dreadful," and I know it's you. I know it's you.
Oh my God! You're spreading the bad word. It's good to hear.
Sometimes I'll stay in character enough to go, "That's just some posh guy, right? What is this?"
Skinny, nerdy, haunted stick of celery, thinking you can spit bars.
It just looks like I come up with it there and then, but realistically, I'm just MC Hammersmith.
Yeah, so I do. Well,
what is it?
Well, the script, I do scripted stuff and improvised stuff. When I do stuff live, it is improvised hip hop comedy tracks based on audience suggestions. And that's what I started doing. I came to it through Freestyle. And then when the first lockdown happened, I thought, I've been writing raps just to amuse myself, but now I don't have any gigs. Maybe I should put some of the best lines I've got into a video. I think that first one I did, I think the clip you showed at the top, that's the one so far that seemed to have gone the most wildly viral.
I went crazy on TikTok, I know, and people were going like, why do you keep talking about TikTok? Because it's a bona fide sensation is what it is. Get on TikTok, it'll change your life. That's all. I really like TikTok. I like it more than I do Twitter or Facebook. Well, I've said it. I need a 60-second video from a 1990s sitcom that no one remembers. I need that at my fingertips.
That's probably the ADHD as well, right? Going, give me the content.
It's great. Well, do you know, I never even thought about that. I probably like it because it is so easily digestible. Yes. But your video on there, I mean, it was over 1 million viewers, and there are TV shows on Netflix that don't get that.
It was odd. I mean, like I don't quite have a quantifiable figure. It got to the front page of Reddit, I know that, and it went like so ridiculously big on WhatsApp where you can't quantify it. I had like 50 people message me in a day, like friends of mine or friends of friends, go like, oh my God, my pal from like New Zealand or like my pal from Australia sent me this on WhatsApp and it's you. And the day that happened, I went, I generally can't quantify how big this is, but it went viral enough. I went, it feels like all of West London has definitely seen this.
And some very angry gangsters out there. Some very, very angry gangsters.
Tupac rolling in his grave.
Tupac came back. That's how angry he was.
So yeah, and I've had some other videos that haven't gone popped quite as much that have done also reasonably well. I've been happy with and have been a huge source of entertainment for myself because I just think that talking about quite ridiculous, mundane, specifically English things is the thing that I find amusing through this prism of hip hop is so funny. Like elevating the mundane to a hopefully well-rhymed, well-flowed rhyming couplet that just really amuses me.
It's an amazing lyrical adventure, I think, whenever you get a set and watch of it. Really, really is. Now, for the live shows, we have to talk about the live shows. I always say this about improv, certainly, or live comedy, that when you'll see it, you'll fall in love with it. You will literally go, oh, this is now my favorite thing. In terms of an MC Hammersmith live show, I don't know if I've ever seen, first of all, I don't know if I've ever seen audiences do such a 180 on a performer or a situation in my life.
You and I gigged at Wild Cabaret before then.
I knew you were going to mention Wild Cabaret. It was right at the tip of my tongue.
For those of you who don't know, Wild Cabaret is it's a venue in Glasgow that is populated. Well, I'm not sure if it will be open after the pandemic. But it was populated in the audience by, I don't think it's unfair to say, the Lanarkshire Massive. It was populated by mostly middle-aged people from in and around Glasgow who were there to take advantage of the food and the drinks and the entertainment. Though it was very good, I will demonstrate they always had a banging lineup of pro acts. It was an afterthought for them. Yeah, I don't think that's unfair on anyone to say.
If there had been a TV on with catchphrase, they would have been just as happy.
Yes, completely. And I'm not going to make this an anti-English sentiment. I've lived in Scotland for 11 years, love it here. I've never experienced anti-English sentiment. What I will say, though, is I have experienced aggressive apathy from a crowd. Specifically that specific gig is the best example of it, where they'll be like, please welcome this guy, and they've just had a showgirl, they just had a juggler, and I come out dressed like this, looking like a boy wizard accountant, just like walking onto the stage and going, hello, and I can just feel them hate me, absolutely hate me. And the great thing about lowering the bar to subterranean levels is you only have to do an adequate job at what you do for them to go, I'm doing a 180 on this now. So yeah, I do love to lower the expectations because nobody expects someone that looks and sounds like me to be able to rap semi-adequately. And that's I call it the Susan Boyle effect. You didn't expect that person to do that thing to an adequate degree. And I enjoy playing that, especially amongst a middle-aged Glaswegian crowd, because they hear one with me and they rightfully go, Tory scum. And I think most people that sound like me and look at me probably are Tory scum. So
that's usually me over the house, Mike. I'd like to give my apologies. It's you see your mate on doing well, he's like, I've got to take him down. But in terms of what you do live, you make it such an incredible interactive experience. I mean, you're doing raps and not only basing on the people that are there, objects that they have in their bag. You're never going to see this again. You're never going to see this show again, which I think is what makes the appeal. I mean, I know you've done the Edinburgh Festival, you've obviously went and toured over in America, you performed over in Australia, and there's a real demand, and this opens up for you to do that again. We'll be excited to follow that adventure with you, fingers crossed, unless it's all Mad Max Apocalypse by then and we're eating dogs. Who knows? As long as they're big dogs, I'm not that bothered. You can have a little spaniel.
Thank you very much.
You're only welcome. I know. But I got to talk about the freestyle thing, because there'll be people right now going, am I mishearing them? Are they saying freestyle or frisson? I can't tell. The love of freestyle rap, that journey into lyricism, that's not a made up, that's not a gimmick. You have a genuine love of that type of music.
Oh, I love it, and it's very niche. Like to give quick context, in the 90s, freestyle battle raps were a big thing. And early noughties as well. The idea of battle rap is ad-libbed, completely freestyled. That means with no preparation off the top of the head, just laying into your opponent. Now battle rap is not done on beat, it's a cappella, and 99% of it, I'm going to say, and just pull that figure out of thin air, is scripted. And the art of freestyling is not as dominant in hip hop as it used to be. It used to be an essential string to your bow that an MC should have to be able to freestyle battle if they were challenged at any point, and to be able to come off the top to reference things about that person in the moment, even if they've never met before. And now that is not regarded as a highly prized skill for an MC to have. There'll be so many rappers you'll see on shows like Sway in the Morning and other things you'll see like that are big on YouTube, where people are very scared to freestyle because it's just not in their repertoire, because they've not come up in the way rappers and MCs used to come up. And the best examples of freestylers out there from a comedy perspective and people who've done it from improv backgrounds, have to give a shout out to Abandaman and to Chris Turner, probably the best examples of this. And certainly the best. Yeah, and certainly the best examples of this from, the UK and Ireland, certainly. And they were doing it way before me, and really demonstrated to me when I first started practicing by myself, seeing their videos and seeing them live a couple of times, made me feel, the possibilities of being able to do this are incredible. I've also got to give a shout out to a group in New York called North Coast, who are all good friends of mine, and they do what we were talking about earlier, long form, but they do hip hop improv scenes. So the best way to think of it is they do like an improvised Hamilton. They'll take a suggestion of a historical character. For the first 2 minutes of the show, we will all on stage in the crowd go onto Wikipedia on our phones to find out everything about Al Capone, if that's the suggestion. And then we'll make up an improvised hip-hop musical based on their life. So it's scenes that then transition into like improvised hip-hop tracks, and they've got a beatboxer and a pianist on stage with them, and they are so talented, it's insane.
Holy shit.
And then you've got, those are from the improv side of things. From the hip hop side of things, you've got people like, I think maybe the three best examples of out there now would be MC Supernatural, MC Juice, and Harry Mack in no particular order, for my money at least. Juice and Supernatural were doing it in the 90s and were the pioneers of it at the time. The biggest like freestyle rap battle that was aired at a certain time, I'm going to say it was 2002, 2003, and was really hyped up at this time period, was Juice versus Supernatural, the two big dogs in the game that everyone wanted to see lay into each other. And if you have a spare 20 minutes, go and watch the audio of, there's almost no footage from the gig. Try and find the audio of MC Juice versus MC Supernatural and just appreciate how every line of that is improvised. They have some absolute haymakers in there. I think MC Supernatural does one, which is, I'm going to paraphrase here. Every time I do, I spit it so witty. I'm about to lift you and take it to 360. I think it's very cool that you tried to diss me, but I bought your record and I used it as a frisbee. And that's completely like, the crowd loses their shit. And Juice has got some excellent ones as well. I'm paraphrasing again. You need to understand that I'm so reckless. You couldn't reach the top in a bad game of Tetris. And just knowing that it's improvised and ad-libbed as they are laying into each other, talking about like, referencing the lines each other have done. It's insanity. It's amazing. And Harry Mack now is the pioneer who's doing it on YouTube, and he seems to be popping up my recommended feed every day. He is one of the most fluent and fluid flowers of polysyllabic rhymes, like improvised, I've ever seen. He is also a phenomenon and worth checking out. So I basically hope to take a little bit from all of these people and do an inferior version of what they always do. Yeah.
Well, you're on your way. I'm not sure if that's because
the stuff that other comics don't see do is like bars with a Z, like doing stuff that like takes down other rappers, because that is a huge source of comedy for me, and stuff that I think I also like to think I bring to it that maybe people that have come from hip hop side of things wouldn't necessarily bring to it, is gags and jokes and being ironic and not taking it too seriously, whilst of course remaining appreciative rather than appropriative of the hip hop culture. But it's a fine line to tread, but right in the middle of it is the comedy that I really enjoy and excites me. I really enjoy that stuff.
It's a vein that runs through what you do, and the passion for it is all there. But then, like you say, there's the comedy side, which is equally as passionate. Something you're about just explodes through the microphone at people, and I think it's intoxicating. There's so much other stuff we've got to talk about. We might have to do a part 2 to this at some point. I think would be probably the thing. But in terms of MC Hammersmith, it's been such a success for you. There is other strings to you, but obviously you do spontaneous pottery. You explained that. Hopefully we're going to be back doing that soon. That'd be lovely. Spontaneous Sherlock and what have you. Other things in the pipeline, of course, we do Monday night improv as well. You can check that out. Our friends here at Braw Beard help us out with that as well. You can make sure to check that out Monday nights on the Stand Comedy Club's YouTube account. But I know there's I know this because I'm involved with it. Another show in the pipeline as well.
Yes, this is the green screen show you're talking about.
Can we talk about it?
Hell yeah! Virtual Improv All Stars in a fucking amazing green screen studio in the center of Glasgow, where we're going to have 4 improvisers and somebody on keys as well. Improviser/comics doing improvised comedy line games and scenes and games and all sorts of nonsense with a green screen behind us, giving us virtual backgrounds. And what we can see as we're on stage is a almost dystopian Orwellian wall of faces that is a Zoom screen. So we can interact with the crowd as we do it. And through Zoom, we can be in different locations and bring scenes to life, which we haven't seen people do much. And it is this really cool, fun blend of digital and real life as we transition out of this third wave of this global bastard.
It's a real life TV show. And we haven't actually seen an improv TV show. I mean, no disrespect to Whose Line Is It Anyway, but we haven't seen anything new. I mean, there was a thing called Fast and Loose on BBC Two, which was awful.
No disrespect to anyone in it, but a lot of people would probably agree. Yes, indeed.
Yes, well, it's one of those things as well. People forget the TV aspect of it is these guys get to do an hour's worth of tapings to produce a 23-minute TV show. Even going back to what you do with MC Hammersmith, there's no cuts. There's no... Like we're stopping. Oh, fuck that. We'll start again. This is real life, and full-blown veiny fear.
And that's where the fun is. We were talking earlier about the yes and. There is no such thing in improv as a mistake. If you fuck it up and you go, oh, that was bad, that's a mistake. If you see the mistake in inverted commas and then yes and it, that becomes a gift and an opportunity. I remember I was doing an improvised James Bond show years ago, and I came in wanting to announce myself as Moneypenny, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, I went, hello, it's me, Monkey Penny. And I went, oh God. And I know exactly what's going to happen. And they went, Monkey Penny. And then, of course, everyone that worked at MI6 was an ape of some kind. And cut to Bond's glamorous assistant being a chimpanzee. Like, of course that's going to happen. But it's because we go into it with the attitude of there are no mistakes and we have to yes and every idea, no matter how clunky they might be. But that's where it becomes comedy gold. That's where, that's the fun.
Even if when you're walking off stage later on and you're in the bar having a drink, someone's going, Monkey Penny.
What was he thinking?
I had to eat fleas off someone. Well, thank you for that.
Exactly.
But listen, once again, we've mentioned all the places people can get in touch. I mean, I know that you do workshops and stuff as well.
Yes.
I'd probably say we're out of time on this episode, but let's do this again.
Absolutely.
Where would be a good place for people to get in touch with everything that's going on with you, even if they did want to reach out, if they're looking to get classes or more information or book you or anything like that? Where's the best place for people to get in touch? With Naameh /MC Hammersmith.
Yes, mchammersmith.com, please. Go to contact form on the website. Yeah, I've been teaching all throughout this pandemic, teaching improv online and freestyle rap online. It's been a huge amount of fun. I often feel like, am I giving away my trade secrets here? But no, it's that improv attitude of a rising tide elevates all ships. If other people did the sort of very niche things I do, I would be so fucking happy and so delighted. There'd be other people to play with. So, yeah, it'd be fun.
I think this is a good time for me to announce my new stand-up character of MC Coldbridge. I'm very excited about it. I'm not saying you're giving away. I'm thinking, no. You know the worst thing is? There's going to be someone out there called MC Coldbridge. I'm calling it right now.
There will be. And they'll be from Cumbernauld just as a double insult, just as a big fuck you.
Right. Well, this has been absolutely amazing. Everyone make sure to check out MC Hammersmith. I'm going to put a link to his website and all his social media right below this video. Right now, wherever you are, go like, share, subscribe, do what you need to do, and check out MC Hammersmith. Well, I'm going to pop you back in the green room, and I'm going to finish up here on broadcast. Everyone, MC motherfucking Hammersmith. Right, that's all we got time for. What a cracking episode. A little bit of everything there. Make sure to check out Well Doing MC Hammersmith. And of course, the kids are going mental. And I caught this at home. You didn't know. Make sure to go check this out. And of course, all the archive episodes of Broadcast. We've got some amazing episodes coming up soon. And we are going to be going on the road as well. As everything opens up, we're going to be hitting the road. We're going to be heading to meet some of the people, the alumni, if you like, of Broadcast over the last year. We're going to be, I don't want to give anything away, but maybe we will get a trip to the ghetto of MC Hammersmith. I can't promise anything. Gangster, there's darkness within those eyes. Don't let them fool you. I've been Billy Kirkwood. You're a ray of delight. And I will see you next time. Make sure to check out everything that's going on with Braw Beard social media. And, of course, treat yourself. Take some bath salts. Right, we will see you next time. Can I find the cursor out the corner of my eye? And make sure to press the closing credits. I think I can. Brah, brah!